brackets and welding this.
You could buy the brackets. We'll just make the control arms.
Right.
We'll do the measurements, make the control arms, buy the brackets for the rear and for the
So
frame
buy a
side.
rear.
Yeah, we can move the brackets wherever the heck we want them.
Yeah.
You know, on the axle tube, or you can buy them for the housing. Yeah, we could do a triangulated 4-link.
That's what I was thinking, a triangulated 4-link. And just.
Or we could do I always wanted to try like a real true triangulated 3-link. Literally 3 links.
Hey, I'm game for doing whatever.
So you have the 2 outer ones.
Right.
One on the that comes off of whatever side would clear best.
Uh-huh.
Right or to left, into the center, and a track bar for centering if we would even need it.
It probably wouldn't need it.
No, because that center one, I'm thinking to keep it, if we used.
And I'm not taking it out on the highway anymore
Right.
or anything like that.
So I think, just think about that. Then you only have 2 at either end that are. It's kind of the same idea, but one less joint as a triangulated 4-link.
That would be
well, it's kind of like a 2-link. They don't really.
So I was looking at the Iron Rock off-road system.
I don't know why it's not connecting. We'll just have to deal with it. Can you guys hear okay? Is everybody hearing what we're doing?
You don't have it on your iPad mini?
Huh?
You don't have the comments on your mini?
I do. Well, right now I don't have any comments. Because I logged out and then relaunched.
So in the front I have the Iron Rock XJ Critical Path Long Arm Upgrade Adjustable, which is a 3-link system, but it only has 2 links to the body.
Right.
So it has a fixed arm.
Right.
And then the 2 links that go to the body, and that's it.
Right.
And then the springs and a track bar.
Right. So this would be similar.
So it'd be similar to this.
But an individual instead of sharing that one.
Right.
Thanks for checking, Mike. I appreciate it.
And you're going to need coilovers.
Yeah.
Gotta have.
Everybody needs coilovers.
I'm gonna be running sprigs in the front, coilovers in the rear.
No, we're gonna do hoops in the front.
We gotta. Oh, okay. Thanks for spending my money, Don.
No problem, buddy.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna cage, so.
What the heck just happened?
Well, you're gonna have to. I signed out, which created a new live, so you're gonna have to go find a new.
I'm here.
I have to go find it. I got Joe. Hey, Mike. Oh, and I did get those Bilstein shocks from Mike.
Cool. Yeah, you did. I saw the picture of them.
Yeah, I cleaned them up a little bit. There's a little oxide on it. So maybe I'll just rattle can.
Red.
Yeah. Yeah. Did he have him call again? Because
he didn't. I was just watching.
Because let's take this into the episode and start the episode and then kind of bring into that.
Right.
You know? Okay. I know for those people listening, we're
doing this backwards.
We're doing
tonight.
it backwards,
right?
Because we had to kind of fit things in the Marvin schedule, and that was great. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm not going to hit the music because I don't know where the button is.
It's underneath the table. We tried to make some technical
adjustments. So I've got to order some more cable and everything.
And then I showed up with my short headphone cable, and needless to say,
it ruined everything.
Billy's fault.
It's always my fault. It's easy to blame it on the young guy.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeep Life Podcast. We're a podcast where we really celebrate that life, and tonight is a killer night. We've got some awesome things coming up for you. I'm joined, as always, with my amazing co-hosts, and I've got Bill to my left. How you doing, Bill?
I'm doing awesome, Terry. You know, I'm really looking forward to this episode, and I've been just happy all week.
I know, we've kind of kept things to our hat until everything would kind of fell into place.
Right.
And, the person who made kind of all this happen is to my right. What's up, Don? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man.
Absolutely.
It was really cool. I got to see both of you yesterday and spend some time.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Overland Bucks.
Yes. Great show or great
Bucks,
meet.
Bucks Overland.
Bucks Overland.
All
right, my bad.
So awesome group of guys. They're more into the overlanding side of kind of the off-road world, and they planned an event at Lake Nakamixon, which is it's a beautiful lake and kind of just outdoor area down by the Philadelphia area. And these guys are just really cool. They like the overlanding scene, and they have some sweet rigs. We saw some awesome rigs yesterday at this overland meetup, and they were actually going to continue on and stay and go and camp overnight, which we weren't able to join them on that, but just so those rigs. Yeah,
I mean, there were Forerunners, there was a Land Cruiser, it was a 50-50 Jeep.
So what was,
there.
I'm horrible with names, and I apologize. What was the gentleman who put the show together? Is his name Dave? Is that what it was?
I'm worse at names than you are. Actually, I was not there when you guys initially met with him, but
his rig, that Toyota, the Forerunner with
the trailer.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think what the name of the trailer is because I'm horrible with those two.
Yeah.
That was a nice setup. I mean, that is probably one of the nicest overland setups I've come across yet.
Let's start out. He was one of the nicest guys that I've ever met in the business, and just came up and just talking, and he's a great ambassador for the activity. Oh my gosh!
So I went home thinking about how could I change my Jeep around to be
right?
a better overland rig.
I know
it really is.
But his Forerunner. Now my brother is a Toyota guy. He's got a Tacoma Forerunner.
Right.
He also has a Jeep now. But when I see these guys, the guy that pulled in next to me a little bit later had that Easy Up iCamper.
Right.
And man, that thing, he had it fully set up in like a minute and a half.
I know.
I was like, that's awesome. But I don't want to have to climb up.
Justin Turner. That's his name.
Okay.
What a cool dude.
Guy.
Yeah. What a cool
Absolutely.
dude. But I don't want to have to climb up to get into the tent.
The tent.
In some parts of the world, you need that, right?
Absolutely.
Well, and so that's what I've been kicking around. Like, if I were to do this, do I do a rooftop tent or just floor tent? But the problem is, like, I worry about. I want to go out west and wheel.
Yeah.
I don't. Brown bears are big out there, buddy.
Dude, it doesn't matter what tent you have or if it's on top of your truck. If a bear wants in,
I guess
it's coming in.
I guess you're right.
He's climbing that ladder just like you climbed it.
Nonetheless, I'll sleep better.
I'm more worried about snakes and scorpions and stuff like that.
That doesn't bother me.
And lions and tigers, oh my. But what a great event. I mean, it was just rigs and coffee.
Yeah.
They had, cold coffee, they had hot coffee.
And cold coffee was just hot coffee that they made cold.
As
Justin clearly explained that to us. He said it wasn't cold brew, it wasn't any of that fancy jazz. Yeah. It is overland cold coffee.
Yeah, it was good though.
It was a good event just to hang out, meet some people, talk to some
Absolutely.
people. We got to talk to some friends of the pod, but we also got to meet some new people.
Yeah.
Gave out some stickers, and and it was good.
Just make new connections too.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing about the Jeep life. It's just talking to people, seeing where they're coming from, getting their ideas, sharing your ideas, and just sharing that same thinking process of kind of going about a vehicle in general.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of that being a good event, we've got some events coming up relatively quick. I think next weekend,
the 29th is the Jeep Enthusiasts of Eastern Pennsylvania is doing a Invasion of Mopar Madness over at the South Mall in the Lehigh Valley, which is over on Lehigh Street. So that'll be a fun event that Jeep Enthusiasts of Eastern PA is having come up. And then also on September 19th, the Jeep Enthusiasts of Eastern PA is doing their Fall Trail Ride, which is going to be up at AOAA, which is an event open to all Jeepers of all walks of life, aka stock to heavily modified.
Yes.
And they're going to do a trail ride up at AOA. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be some camping involved and wheeling and
we'll have everything available from greens to
blacks.
blues
and blacks. Yeah,
we'll probably get a couple blacks in there.
Yep.
Oh.
So it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have another one I came across today. Glow With Us Jeep Show at the Creekside Farmers Market, October 18th, 8 to 10 p.m. And they have a corn maze glow night. I'm sorry, it's 3 to 8, and then the corn maze is open 8 to 10. But it'd be a fun
cool.
October event.
Yeah,
we
a lot of
across
fun
that today.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Cool.
I mean, I'm always looking for a fall event. Is it already getting
Almost
ready
there.
to be fall?
It is.
We're almost to
just-
September.
That's right.
Wow. I mean,
The summer just kind of was like non-existent.
it didn't exist. We went straight from pre-COVID to now.
But I like the fall because it's more wheeling.
Yeah, well, I'll do it all the time. I
True,
know.
I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm not. I've done some snow and ice wheeling, and I'm not a huge fan because
That's when I detail the Jeep.
exactly that it stays clean and
I like
gets
snow
desalted.
wheeling when we get like 12, 14, 16 inches of snow, and I like hitting the
Just
off pavement roads. I don't like rock. I just
no.
had some bad
You
experiences
can't
in
see
the
it.
TJ.
You can't judge
You
distance.
slide around.
Yeah.
You just shoot and point, point
Yep.
and shoot, and you slide, and it's just. I guess I'm a control freak, and you don't have any control.
That's the closest I've ever come to rolling puddles. I had
Yeah.
two wheels off the ground.
Same here
Wow.
with the TJ. I was yep.
And then came back down.
I don't know if I was off, but it
And-
didn't feel well, and I
Yeah.
was pretty far off camber, and I just, I guess I wouldn't mind it if I wasn't driving what I am wheeling, if I
Yeah.
had,
Right.
and that's why I keep going back to maybe I'll pick up a TJ or something, but just to wheel hard,
yeah.
trailer it, and
Well, that's why I got puddles, and that's why puddles is going under the knife.
yeah.
I love it.
Some inspiration has kind of festered into my mind.
But then I think that's what I have insurance for.
right.
Yeah,
I
true.
don't know.
Well, I got to spend a couple days with a couple nights and stuff with you, and
Yeah.
Puddles is
Puddles is getting some work.
Puddles a week ago had a question mark on its forehead.
And now it doesn't.
No, it
Puddles
doesn't.
is getting kept,
So
and
we've
there
made
has
the decision. Yeah.
there has been some decision and some direction that has been decided upon, and how Puddles is going to become Monster Puddles.
Yeah, and you've started cleaning up the
Some
frame
rust in
and
the frame, and so it's gonna get we're thinking a 4-link or a true 3-link rear.
Yeah.
Maybe some coilovers, and it's going to get a exo cage. Right now, I'm prepping it to do frame stiffeners.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the base thing that you need to do before you start any of this project.
right,
Yeah.
right, because those do flex even
Oh,
just in the frame,
it
right?
twists
in the,
like
in
a
the
noodle.
body.
Come
Yeah.
on, let's
Yeah,
be
I know, right?
serious about it. Come on, the thing really does twist. Like if I'm out off road, and there's sometimes I can't even open the trunk because it's
It's true.
It's
You do.
twi-
You open
it's
it. You open the
twisted.
trunk on. That's like rule number
Right.
one with an XJ. You
you
never,
never open
that
the trunk.
when it's flexed out, because you'll never get it closed again.
Right, exactly.
You open that trunk, and the other the right rear wheel will drop another 3 inches.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's part of the structural integrity.
How do
at
I
that
win
point.
this RTI ramp? Oh, open the trunk.
Yeah,
You're good
yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about that at the Overland Expo with the TJs.
Yeah.
So the TJ I think is a little bit shorter than the XJ. They're about the same width. The big thing out of the box for the TJ is that it has rear coils.
Right.
The XJs had leaves, but I mean, I swear to God, you pick up like another couple 50, 100 points on flex on the
Yeah.
RTI ramp because those frames or the bodies twist so much.
Right.
It's like part of the.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
It is. I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see where it goes. I know it's going to be a work in progress, and
It's going to be a constant working progress.
yeah,
at this
I
one,
love
you
it.
know.
And your garage is perfect for it. So, yeah.
It'll turn out well, and I'm excited.
Somebody's getting the
That
pink
was
helmet,
me. It was the little knobby guy over here.
the orange cone of shame.
I think we should do an orange cone.
I do too.
Dunce
I'll-
cap.
I'll
Doesn't
come up with
Lexi
one.
have like one of those training cones? You can just stick it on her head or
dunce.
something.
You gotta
like
write
a
dunce on
hat,
it.
Yeah.
Dunce or something.
We can do something with that. It feels weird that we've seen each other, we've done stuff together this week, and I don't know what else do we have coming up. What do we?
Okay, hold on. I want to give you something that feels weird.
Yeah.
When you go to an event and you talk about a Jeep that isn't there and people know what it is.
Yeah, that's weird.
I went to an event.
Yeah.
I went yesterday. I went up to the Polk Township Fire Company for
Yep.
their Jeep's cruise night, Jeep and truck cruise night. And I was talking to a gentleman, and I was talking to him, and he said, I was like, oh, my other Jeep, I got a 98 Cherokee, and it's blue. And he was like, oh, its name's Puddles, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you know Puddles, it's an XJ, and that's cool.
Yeah. It's not that you're famous, you're infamous.
I'm infamous.
You're
yeah.
infamous.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it sometimes and as I don't want to say internet celebrity,
Right.
but your presence on the Instagrams and with this and out on the trail, it's pretty well known.
Yeah.
And
I mean, in this area, but
yeah. Well,
He's a local celebrity.
local celebrity. I'm cool with that.
Local internet celebrity.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're wondering who Puddles is, it's the Jeep covered in caution tape up at AOAA because it's most likely broke down.
Yeah.
If it's sitting on cinder blocks, then Dave really got to it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Dave Porsey, awesome guy.
Yeah, I love going up there and seeing him and the guys, the staff at AOA.
Absolutely.
They're such good people, and we went through. It was a couple weeks ago. We went through. No, you guys weren't there. I was out with
You were
Scott,
Scott.
and they're doing cooler checks as they're going in because they have to do that.
Yeah. And
Don't wheel and drink. But it was cool because they were like, we need to check your cooler. I was like, fine, check it. It's right there. Grab me a water while you're in there.
Yeah, you grab me a water.
So I have somebody to do my bidding while they do the cooler check. But it's great.
I would actually like to address something real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
I saw somebody posting on Facebook about that cooler check and how
Yeah, I saw
they
that.
weren't happy about it.
Yeah.
And I got thinking, and that cooler check, it isn't to be mean. It isn't to go through your personal space or anything of the sort. That cooler check is to keeping you safe.
Yeah.
Because most of those situations, it's not the person that's drinking that gets hurt. It's the innocent bystander. So you know what? That cooler check it's an important part, and not everybody has the most common sense in the world.
No.
So get over it.
Yeah.
Well, and let me just clarify that. I don't know for sure this is what happened, but just dealing with some of the stuff we have at the school with some of the different shows and stuff we've done, a lot of times insurance companies, the underwriters will throw these things out there like you need to do a cooler check or if you don't comply, your rates are going to go through the roof. So I would have to venture a guess, just an educated guess, that this wasn't Dave or anybody else on his team just trying to make your day worse. This is something that's coming from somewhere else.
or if somebody gets hurt, what
there's
did you
alcohol
do
involved.
to prevent that
Right.
as an organization?
Right.
And then all of a sudden we don't get to wheel there because
Right.
no,
So
I'll stop and let them check my cooler.
Yeah. So it's do that. And to boot, I do think it's it's a family
area.
Right.
And you know what? It's fine to have an adult beverage
at night after you're done.
Yep.
Don't bring it out on the trail. You are wheeling a vehicle for say
you got two and a half tons.
If it's a side by side, they're still 1,300 pounds, 1,400 pounds.
Yep.
These things are heavy. They will hurt somebody, and they can.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I wanted to make that. I wanted to address it real quick.
I love it. And I don't think anybody's being a jerk about it. It's just let them check your cooler or
no. I don't think if it's the same one I read, it wasn't. I was just somebody saying.
I read somebody was kind of getting nasty about it and was like, "What the."
Yeah,
Going
it is what
off
it
on
is.
Facebook, and I'm like, you know what, man, come on.
Not the one I saw. It wasn't. It was just somebody, saying, I get it, but I
don't care. I'll happily, get my water out while you're at it. Hey, me a Gatorade.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
I remember the one day I pulled up. Dave was like, "Oh, I gotta check it," and I was like, "Dude, fine, here, it's right there."
Right. The only thing that bothers me is they put the caution tape on the window, and it doesn't look nearly as cool in the pictures with that hanging off. But what other way are they going to know
Right.
what they've checked and what they haven't? So I don't have a problem with that.
I agree. So I agree with it. You know what?
Yeah, cool. I'm glad you brought that up. That's good. And I'll drink here
Exactly.
so that I don't have to drink on the trail.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
There's water.
Well done, sir. Well done.
He actually just fills those up with.
Right?
Vodka.
Well, after we shamelessly plug our wares, we're going to have an amazing interview with Marvin Stammel from Flex Rocks and Rollovers. Right? Did I get it right?
Flex, rocks, and rollovers.
Yeah, it's more than 4 words, man. I'm lost.
Too many syllables.
Too many syllables. But I can't wait for you guys to hear him he talks about these trails and the time that he's having with 24 Hell and Back. I know that we're all in just awe watching the videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier. I mean, he's a incredible person.
Incredible person, super talented behind the wheel.
That's what I mean. I mean, he's got so many positive attributes
Right.
to him. I mean, he's talented behind the wheel. He's talented on the camera. He's a great businessman, and he's humble. I mean, we were just talking about that. He's easy to talk to. And enthusiastic. I mean, part of why he's so good at what he does is because he loves it. I mean, this guy loves it. And so
there are those people that are they just do it, they love it and everything, but their enthusiasm doesn't come out, and of course that would make for piss poor YouTube or piss poor, that would just be boring.
Sure.
But to be able to turn it into something exciting like this 24 Hell and Back events,
absolutely,
and be able to attract the type drivers that are in that and the type of vehicles that are in that, you can't be boring and do that, right? You have to bring personality, right? And you have to kind of show your love for it.
Here's my favorite quote.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, you get your photo now. Somebody grab me a damn strap.
wasn't damn though. That's not the word to use.
Well, we're gonna keep it PG-13.
Yeah. But before we go on, we did get new shipment of stickers.
Absolutely.
I have them sitting on the front of the.
They are right here.
Yeah, we've got more. Each of us have ours.
Playing with this, but thank you.
If you
I'm
want
your
a sticker,
fidget toy now.
reach out to me. Let me know. Tell me something. Give me some kind of reason to
give us a Jeep of the week.
Yeah, give us something.
We have a Jeep of the week. When are we doing that?
I don't know. When are we? If you can pull it up and have it ready, we'll do it this week. If not, we'll put it off to next week.
Let's just do it next week.
But we also, and I have this. This is one of my favorite new ditties. I've never put something on my computer. But man, that is so cool. It's available on our
What he's
website.
talking about is a awesome laptop bag that is a neoprene cover, and it has our Jeep Life podcast logo
all over.
Very nicely
Huge.
Put on the front. It's got a very soft inner felt covering.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I
think
it's
Billy
really
should
soft.
do info commercials.
I know, right? He really should. Well, we've talked about that.
I've been a man on a mic at one time.
But those are available on our website. On
Just
our
remember
swag.
the ShamWow.
I know, right? Shattered Dream Designs does all of our swag for us. This is quality. Right?
Oh, I don't even have the shirt on right now.
None of we all wore our club.
We
shirts.
planned this.
Yeah.
We sweated through them.
We did all weekend long.
We had them on yesterday.
And recording videos in them.
Yeah, our t-shirts, we have those available. There's great stuff on the website. jeeplifepodcast.com/swag, I think is the URL. Just go there and hit swag and it'll take you right at Shattered Dream Designs site for us. And
and great quality products.
We make money off of that. So buy our stuff.
It helps us out. It helps put the podcast on. All this stuff.
We tarry mostly.
But
there's an investment in the equipment for this.
Absolutely.
There's an investment.
The hosting, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that helps us out.
Putting
And you get
content
it-
out, videos, this, that, the other thing. So
A lot of these reviews, I mean, we buy this stuff. We're not
Yeah.
we're not at the
Right.
point where we have people
No,
giving
not
us a
yet,
whole
no.
lot, you know. So
But while you're out there listening, if you
you-
have a product that you
Right.
want us to review,
Right.
send it to us.
yeah.
We'll be happy to do that. As a matter of fact, I think we've got a product to review
in the pipeline.
in the pipeline
do.
coming up.
Which we will have more to talk about at the end of this episode.
Yeah. Do we?
I say save it, Terry.
All right.
Just
well,
wait. I know you're excited. Wait.
I'm excited.
right.
I'm excited about everything. We've got so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
We're
going-
all so excited. We're like, yeah, let's go.
Um,
Ready. 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 Ready.
Perfect. So we've got Marvin calling in just a minute. So we'll let him call in and we'll call it a night.
Where
Cool.
can we be found?
We can be found just about anywhere on the web. Go to Google, search the Jeep Life Podcast. We're going to be popping up there in the first. We can be found on YouTube. That's where our main stuff is. We're throwing stuff on YouTube constantly. We're making videos
Every other day, at least.
It's crazy the content that we're delivering there. If you have a podcast favorite place to go to, Apple Podcasts is mine, but if you go to Spotify or I think now YouTube Podcasts or something,
Yep. Something. Of the sort.
something like that, you can get our episodes there. So make sure you subscribe and like. Tell your friends. We have an Instagram, and it's updated on a regular basis. It's awesome at Jeep Life Pod. The pod is real. The pod is great. And as always, guys, thanks for sharing your evening with us. Guys on Facebook and YouTube Live, thanks for sharing with us.
Absolutely.
And for Bill and Don, you guys have a good night. And here's a big Jeep wave to you. Awesome.
Are we done?
I
Can I
think
take these
so.
off yet?
I think we're done. Good night, everybody. Thanks for
Night.
coming.
Thank you, Facebook Live. Thank you, YouTube.
Oh, and I think we're gonna have hats to give away.
Coming up.
I got to figure out a good way to give away hats. So if anybody got a good idea on how to give away hats, contest, etc., send an email into info@jeeplifepodcast.
Well, automatically,
Yeah.
we got to do something with followers and
Yeah.
subscribers and this. And
Yeah.
that.
So come up with a good idea, and we'll do that. And if we pick your idea, I'll give you a hat.
yeah,
How's that sound?
come up with a good idea.
Big boot. So we've got Marvin calling in just a minute. Here we go. Hello.
Hey, Dawn and Marvin.
Hey,
Hey,
Marvin. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
We're doing
did-
good.
So
Doing good, yeah.
you're on. I'm Terry, and well, it doesn't matter which direction I go. We got Bill over here. Say hi, Bill.
Hi, how's it going, Marvin?
Hey.
And then
Thanks
on.
for having me on, guys.
Yeah, man. Then we got Don. You've been communicating with Don. Say hi, Don.
Yes.
Hey, Marvin,
Hey,
how
Doc.
are you?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up?
Not much. You recouped from that 24 hours of four-wheeling yet?
Well, hardly. Still tired.
So we've already got a small audience that's built on so far. So to give a couple more minutes and we'll get rolling.
Sounds good.
And we've got some questions. I think we've kind of prepped you with them, but
Yeah.
really this is about you. We just want to hear you, things you love to do, that sort of thing.
Hear about your
Good,
awesome
man. I'll
Jeep.
give you the whole 9 yards.
Excellent.
Whatever you need.
Yeah.
I like that. We've got some people online right now that are very interested in what you have to say about your builds, and of course we're super nerds and we'll be all about it.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. Definitely. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for doing it, Marvin. I keep setting my phone down, and it's We keep joking about the pink helmet thing. You know, we say we're going to get a pink helmet when we screw up on the podcast. One of us is wearing.
We're going to pass the pink helmet.
I think, we don't want to steal your idea. Maybe I'll get an orange traffic cone.
I think that's what we need.
And then somebody has to wear that.
We got to wear it on our head or something.
Yeah. Actually, even the pink helmet is not. I mean, it's not even originally from Hellenbeck. Like we kind of took that over from another event that I used to attend and that I'm really close friends with, and that is Max Dollinger's Week of Wheeling. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's kind of like an ultimate adventure style event from. Max Dollinger is the guy that puts it on and used to own a off-road shop in Louisville called Moab Off-Road. And me and him did that Week of Wheeling event a couple of years in a row. And we kind of came up with that idea of the pink helmet on one of his events. And then he was a trail guide actually for our Helen back in Kentucky last year.
Right.
And that's where we kind of transferred that over. And we're like, you know what, like since the helmet was provided by me back then for his event as well, we said, hey, let's bring this to Helen back. And I think that was a good call.
We're gonna have some rendition of that for the podcast, definitely.
Yeah. So when one of us screws up, and even when we're going wheeling,
it's fun. It definitely makes fun, especially in the videos. Like it makes it easy to watch and entertaining to watch, even for people that are not necessarily interested too much in the off-roading part. Like let's say somebody watches it with their wife, like they're all about the pink helmet and love it. They don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, that's I showed it to my mom and dad, and my dad's a car guy, and my mom was like into the pink helmet thing.
Yeah.
By the end of the first video, she said, look, he's got two helmets.
It's like the same concept as like a Survivor situation. Like, oh, they got the idol.
Right.
Something like that.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and it kind of brings the challenge part a little bit in the foregrounds because, like, it is like people could be confused about it that it's not really a competition, that we don't drive against each other, but it's still some sort of competition because we have little challenges in between and call each other out and have the pink helmet to reach around. So,
Absolutely.
I thought that was actually really cool on this video. That especially the way you scored it. You went to break, scored it, and cut the video and came back in. That was great.
Yeah, anytime you put people that talented and with that much machinery on it, there's going to be some competition.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's what we wanted. Like we obviously all wheel in a group, and we all it's a lot of camaraderie on these trips. But like the little challenges in between are definitely fun, especially if you have like high caliber people like an Ian Johnson there, and all of a sudden somebody, hey, Ian, here's your helmet.
Yeah, I was wondering when Ian got his helmet how he would take it. He had to wear. No, he didn't get the helmet. Did he?
On the Abyss obstacle at the end, at the night stage, the last big obstacle of the second part of the video.
Yeah.
Didn't make the second ledge and had to wear it. But also, it was it was the obstacle after the gatekeeper.
Okay.
The Abyss with the two big water pools.
Yeah.
And, I mean, but also in his defense, it was his run was around 4:35 a.m. approximately.
Jeez.
So the focus left off, and like we've had I remember last year in Kentucky, we did like some really gnarly stuff also around the same time frame, and even our trail guide there was like, you know what, guys, I call it, just winch me. I'm too tired to get like people just call it call it way sooner. And don't try as hard anymore when the sun is about to come up and you've been wheeling for 20 plus hours.
And that's the toughest time too. I mean, that's you talk to any truck driver, he'll tell you going down a road as the sun's coming up it's tough.
Yeah,
absolutely. The good thing about this trail was that there was not any downtime, which we didn't anticipate at all. Like the trail was supposed to last 7 to 8 hours, maybe. That's what we anticipated for this trail to go. But obviously, in a big group with the media team and all that, it takes a little longer. Sure. But the trail really, it was obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. There was no downtime whatsoever. The camera guys usually, they film an obstacle, they get back in the vehicle, they set up again, they get back in the vehicle. That never happened. The camera team never stepped a foot back inside a vehicle from the get-go from the trail.
Right.
So. It was rough. It was rough, but usually, like last year in Kentucky, and even we did a little test trial event last June at Windrock, which is a small group and no media team at all. And on both of those, the hardest parts were the dirt roads in between the trails at 4:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's
Right.
when you really got tired. That's when it really got you, when you didn't have to focus too hard and you just,
Yeah, the
cruising down
adrenaline's
the
not
road.
going.
Exactly, cruising down the dirt road, trying to make it to the next trail.
Yep.
That's when it got really rough, especially if you're in the back of the pack and you get dusted out in the back. Like that's when
Yeah.
it really wears on you.
Yeah, yeah,
But on
right.
this trail, we never had that. On this trail, it was just non-stop action. So your adrenaline really never let off.
Now, I mean, but by no means have I ever wheeled that hard. But so I'm wondering, Marvin, how, like, compared to like Fordyce, how hard?
Never been there.
Now,
Never been to Fordyce.
I wonder, like, I mean, I've never seen a trail like that before, ever. There was stuff there,
Yeah.
it was mind blowing. What were your thoughts on the trail?
I loved it. I mean, the park immediately made it into my top 3 wheeling destinations of all time. And we only saw one trail. That's the crazy thing. Rugged Mountain Ranch is 4,500 acres, and we saw 1.8 miles of that, or 1.9. That's what you know what I mean? And they are harder trails than what we ran. Like,
Wow.
I mean, it's up there, but it's definitely not the hardest trail that they have. And it was great. We had a fantastic trail guide. The guy that trail guided us is the guy that broke those trails in 30 years ago, that basically created those trails. So we couldn't have asked for a better guide. And just, I don't know, complete, like, this was the whole park, the entire, like, the environment there. I mean, it was scenic. It was, the water, the rocks. It was just so
Right.
different from what we're used to. Like, down south, you're not allowed to drive through any kind of body of water. That just doesn't exist down here.
Right.
You're not allowed to do that. Up in Oklahoma, the rules are apparently a little different. And it was not a flowing, I don't know, like, it was just like a drainage, like a water drainage trail, I guess.
Sure.
They have, like, they define that a little bit different. So for that reason, it was legal. And wow, I mean, that made such a difference. And the traction there was great too. Like, even though you had wet tires the entire time, the traction on these rocks there was amazing.
Right. And I'm sure the BFG stickies help too.
a lot, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really makes a difference. I don't know. I don't want to bash any other brands, but like in the videos, you can kind of tell what who made it and didn't make it on certain obstacles and how
Yeah.
And BFG is a good tire. I think my favorite part of the video was just you and Scott, bouncing off the rev limiter, heating them up.
Yeah, Scott is the king of that.
So he is.
I don't want to even.
I caught him for the first time on your KOH King of the Hammers video, just burning them in right after they put them on.
Exactly, and it was awesome because he had Super Swamper SX TSL stickies on before that, and we went to back door just a couple hours before that, and he almost rolled it twice, and he really couldn't make it up. Like, he really gave it everything he had, and it didn't work. And then we put the BFGs on, and all of a sudden there was a crowd around it, so there was even a little bit more tension in the air, and he smoked it. It was awesome.
Yeah, there wasn't. At that point, nobody had made it up, correct? I mean, he was the first.
No. Yep, and they were buggies. They were much bigger builds than Scott's that made it up, and his old JL just killed it. It was great.
I tell you what, he's exciting to watch.
He is exciting to watch, and he's just a really good driver too. A lot of people give him shit that all he does is burn up tires, and the guy can't drive and whatnot. No, like, the guy knows how to drive. I mean, he even threw the entire Helen back. He did really good. He only did that one major burnout at the end, but throughout he just did straight up rock crawling and killed it.
He did. He actually, you could see his skill definitely in 24 Hell and Back. He was a little bit of a different driver, but I don't care what people say. Anybody that was on 24 Hell and Back has far more skill than 90% of the people out there.
I mean,
you guys take it to whole
warriors on the internet. Like we had some comments like, "Oh, I'm running XJ 33s with open diffs can do that trail." Like, that's not.
Yeah, right.
I want to see that. Call me. I'll bring a camera. I want to see it.
Well, I mean, there's more intensity in that video, than most people experience in their lifetime. I mean, that's some extreme wheeling. It really is. I can certainly say with all honesty, I mean, even in my younger days when I had a little more money, there was nothing even near that, you know, so...
it was the perfect distance, the perfect location for this kind of event, and it's going to be hard for me to top this in the future. I don't want to. We were most definitely going to return to the park at some point.
Right.
Like I said, there are hundred or a bunch of other trails that we didn't hit. We only saw one trail, so there's a lot of reason to return, but not at the next one. Maybe 2-3 Hellenbecks in, we're going to come back, but for now, I need to find a new destination for the next one. I'm like, wow, how am I going to top this? Like, where are we going to go? Like, this is like, it's going to be hard to top. It was really like that one trail. I mean, I rode all across the country. I mean, I haven't done Fordyce yet, but I've wheeled the Hammer several times and whatnot. And I would say, like, Rocky Mountain Ranch can definitely keep up with any trail at King of the Hammers. I mean, like, it's crazy, crazy, and the water just made it more interesting, and this, like, the whole scenery of this place, and that there was really no downtime in between obstacles. I mean, obviously not every obstacle made it into the video, otherwise we would have had a 24-hour long video, literally. So,
I would watch it.
So and that's why we decided on a third part that is airing actually this coming Friday. We released the third and final part of the video series, and that wasn't planned. Like, usually we do 2 episodes per Hellenbeck, one daytime, one nighttime, and that's it. But after reviewing the footage again, we were like, hey, there's so much good footage. Like, why are we going to cut ourselves short by just releasing 2 episodes? And so, So it was a blast.
How do you, part of what made that so great, besides, you had an all-star cast of guys driving and rigs, Marvin, how do you, like, prep for that? How do you figure out the production that's as equally as entertaining. I mean, you could take that group, and if you didn't know how to cut a video, it wouldn't have been near as good as it was.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is the guy that cut the video, basically the guy that I'm doing my YouTube channel with, he wasn't even there. He wasn't even there. The guy lives in Germany. I know him from back in the days from when I still lived in Germany. So the guy doesn't have a driver's license, has never sat in a Jeep in his life.
What?
Has never been to the United States, has never been wheeling, hardly speaks any English, and he did the entire editing of this whole series.
Wow.
Mind-blowing.
It is.
It really is, absolutely.
But obviously, the camera team that we had, we really put a really good team together. Like, Kyle Niemer is the producer of Trail to SEMA, if that rings a bell.
Yep.
He was one of the main camera guys, then we had the guys from Rockstar Garage. Obviously, they did a killer job. Rockstar Garage brought 2 of their videographers out, and then we had a bunch of just camera assistants, people that set up GoPros and all that stuff, and then 2 photographers, 1 photographer from Rockstar, and then I hired a guy that I also still know from back in the days in Germany. He is a world-class photographer that does Rally Dakar and Red Bull Air Race and all kinds of major international events. And we've kept a pretty good relationship over the years. And he was in California like a week prior to the event, and I was like, man, come on by, shoot our Hellenbeck. And he made the drive from San Diego all the way to Oklahoma to take some photos for us. I mean, you've seen the content on our Instagram pages, like a photo or video, both of it they blew everything out of the water.
Really did. I mean, it was, we were talking about, we've been talking about the video series on the podcast since it came out. Yeah. And I've been watching you for probably about 6 months now. I forget where I picked up on it, but I instantaneously, I think what hooked me was Jeepster McJeep face. It is cool. But then I've been watching it and subscribed immediately. But I think this 24 Hellenbach, this second one, it is. It's the lighting is perfect. The content, everything it was a whole new level. It really was.
Yeah, and that we basically, it was learning by doing. Like I said, I did a test trial event last year in June at Windrock Park in Tennessee with just a bunch of friends, and we put that together in 5 days. Right. I was literally sitting on my back porch with Holly Fowler, Mischief Maker. She was at my house, and I told her about this idea that I had, and she was like, "Why are we not doing this? Let's just do it. Let's go this weekend. Let's do it. And 5 days later, we were sitting on the trail with a bunch of people and wheeled for 24 hours, and then from there on forward, we just try to make it a little bit better every time. That's and awesome. Learn from our mistakes. And
it's really good.
It's very much like a reality TV show.
Yes,
right. It has that flair to it, but it doesn't seem to have that staged drama.
No.
Exactly, and that's why I think that is a lot has to do with the people that we brought on board. It was a really good mix of high caliber,
Yes.
off-road celebrities, but also just the good old boys with cool rigs and cool characters. Like if Scott Grubb, for example, or
Yes.
even
Yes.
Mikey Grubb, his brother, and Cole, like guys that you don't really see much on Instagram or on Facebook. That are just cool people that we hang out with, that we go wheeling with, where we know like they put on a good show. They're a hell of a driver. They have really, really cool rigs and just cool personalities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, nobody seemed like a jackass, and
not at all.
No, not at all.
Did you have any times where you go, that guy's not invited back or not?
Yeah.
Not really. No, I wouldn't say that. No,
Here-
I mean, no.
I'm just trying to stir up the
Juices or something.
No. It's been great every single time, and that's also why I have a hard time putting out applications for this. I have more requests that I can handle for
Yeah, sure.
people that
Yeah.
want to participate. So, and then B, also, a lot of it is character. I have a hard time bringing people on board for this that I've never wheeled with, that I don't know personally.
Absolutely.
Because of
Absolutely,
exactly
yeah.
that reason. If you're like, the person has to work well on camera, has to be a good driver. The rig, a lot of rigs that you see on Instagram look really, really cool, and then you wheel with them and they have no idea what they're doing. And then, they just hold up the group, or they
Yeah.
break every 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and that's something that would totally kill the trip. So
Yeah.
that really makes it hard
Well,
to
listen,
have
Marvin,
an open.
I'm not going to hit you up to wheel with you, but if you ever need anybody to carry your tow rope, I'm your guy.
No, absolutely. And like especially guys like you, with a podcast and whatnot, we always try to bring in people like you guys, just as passengers,
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah.
keeping open seats and whatnot, and just
Yeah.
having somebody.
We'd love it. We do not. We wheel, but not near as hard as you guys, nor
Oh
do
my
we
God.
have the rigs you guys do.
I'll
so-
change your oil for you.
Before I got into trucks, or before I got into Jeeps and I was drag racing, we called guys like us stone pickers. The
Yeah.
guys that pick the stones out of the tread in the back of the race cars.
Yeah. Well, if you need a U-joint replaced, Bill's your guy.
Yeah, right.
He'll
Under
replace
20 minutes, I can replace a U-joint.
So,
Yeah, no.
go ahead. I'm sorry, Marvin.
No, go ahead. Go
So,
ahead.
all these guys you're talking about, Ian Johnson and Scott Grubb. How did you kind of compile this list of people? Did you just send out some
A mass text message.
Yeah.
Hey, I got this idea.
No,
Let's go
I mean-
wheel for 24 hours, or
I mean, we have our little Flex Rocks and Rollovers gang, which consists of, Scott Grubb, Mikey Grubb, Andrew Bailey,
Right.
Brent Rockwood, and Cole Miller. Those guys are, the guys that we wheel with all the time and that are kind of part of our crew. So they were invited anyways, and then from there on forward, then the connection to Rockstar Garage became stronger and stronger, and we, signed them on board and, had a partnership with them. So they brought 3 rigs on board, and then. The only other 2 guys that I didn't really wheel with before was Ian Harkins, the guy with the really low build TJ, the silver TJ.
Yep.
And then John Tillman, the guy with the orange JKU.
okay.
Those 2 guys I have never wheeled with before, but we've been following each other on Instagram for a while, and I know that Ian Harkins is a hell of a driver. I've seen a bunch of his videos and whatnot. And same with John. Like right before Hell and Back, he sent me a video of him, doing a hill climb somewhere. I think at Spore, and the video hit 100,000 views in 2 days. I was like, all right,
Oh,
John.
Wow.
So, that's kind of how that went. And really, I had the entire event completely planned and ready to go prior to Corona, and we had to cancel it 2 weeks before the event actually happened. So everything was ready and planned and completely ready to go 2 weeks before the whole social distancing and event ban and all that happened. And we really, even though, with our style of event, we kind of, could have sneaked it through because we are a small group of people, and I mean, there's no greater social distancing than being out in the woods. But
sure.
we didn't know where this whole pandemic was going, and we didn't want to risk anything. And sponsors were already kind of sketched out about the whole situation. So we did that last minute call and called it off and postponed it. And that just gave me extra time to fine tune it even further, So throughout the whole pandemic, just gave us extra time, and that really, really paid out this time.
Right.
Yeah. We were basically done, and then had a couple of months extra to plan it even more.
Yeah, so it was
all this
blessing in disguise, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, can we shift gears a little bit and talk about Jeepster McJeepface? Was that now? And if I'm prying here too deep, but is that your build, or did you buy it built or have it built?
So a little bit of mix of both. So I had it built, but I was at the shop pretty much the entire time. So it was a pretty big nightmare. So it all started in 2011. I came over from Germany and basically had some money in my pocket from the car I sold in Germany, all my furniture, everything I basically owned. I was like, I'm going to take a chunk of that and buy me a rig and then build something that I really, really want to, the way I always wanted to build a Jeep. And it's going to take as long as it's going to take. I didn't really put a time limit on it. And then started with a shop here, local in Atlanta, Georgia. Started with a shop, and he basically took the vehicle, cut it apart, and blew the budget on parts that I didn't really need, that we didn't really do. He had honestly no idea what he was doing.
Right.
I've never done a project like that, so I was kind of relying on him on a lot of the the build process. And then he decided to close down the shop and go into the motorcycle business. So there I was with a cut apart Jeep with a vision that nobody else could really follow and understand what he was trying to do there.
Right.
And that was basically the end of the story for a while. Like, I didn't really know what to do with it. And then, through the shows that I used to do, the Unlimited Off-Road shows, I was part of that. I've met a bunch of fabricators and off-road shops from all across the country. And one of our exhibitors was Green Country Off-Road, a shop in Veneta, Oklahoma. And they always, every year, they brought out a really, really cool, unique-looking Jeep. I don't know, I just always liked their approach. They never used any off-the-shelf parts, even though, like, they built CJ7s, they built YJs, they built whatever cool, old-school Jeeps, but never, ever, not once, used any bolt-on parts. Like, these guys, you tell them, hey, I need a fender for, a TJ, instead of, ordering one from whoever, they're just going to make one.
Yeah,
and that was the approach that I needed, because for a Jeepster, there's absolutely not a single part available, nothing. So I needed guys that, had that kind of mentality and, that skill and craftsmanship. So, then we kind of got talking, and I brought the Jeep, hauled it all the way from Atlanta to Oklahoma, and they basically took a couple of months just to, like, decluster everything and kind of understand what the guy previously was trying to do and come up with a new concept. And then we really sat down together and talked this whole thing through, and I kind of designed the entire Jeep on paper prior to it, how I wanted, and every little detail, like fenders, cage, everything pretty much. And then they started, basically just restoring it a little bit. They put a new floor pan in and just kind of fixed whatever the previous guy messed up. And as soon as we were kind of as soon as we had a good base to work on, I drove down to Oklahoma and stayed with them for almost 3 months. And, worked on it every single day, 20-hour days for, pretty much 3 months. And we basically, built it together and then had it ready for Easter Jeep Safari somewhat. I mean, still had to work out bugs and whatnot, but that was kind of the story. So I had major help from a really good shop, but I'm not a fabricator, and like after all this time and money spent, I was like, this is not the time for me to learn how to weld. If you have a rig like this and spend that kind of money, there's really, I didn't want to have shitty welds and weird fabrication on it.
Right.
So it was, I wanted it legit. So like that was a really good call that I don't regret doing at all.
Absolutely.
And it really turned out for the good. I mean, I love this thing.
Oh yeah, it's unique. I mean, there's nothing else. Everything you see on YouTube is mostly JKs,
JLs, built buggies, this, that, the other thing.
Which nothing wrong with it.
No.
But I don't know. I was always more leaning towards the more old school Jeeps, and Jeepsters were always like, I don't know. I've always liked the Jeepster. Like it gives me enough room inside. It's almost the size of an LJ inside, so you have a lot more room in it.
Right.
And honestly, they're pretty cheap to get. They're much cheaper to get than a CJ, like a good condition CJ7 or a Scrambler or whatever would have been way more expensive.
Right.
But we would have had bolt-on parts, so it would have kind of leveled out at some point.
Right.
But we built the Jeeps on the TJ frame to start off with, just kind of thinking, maybe we can do that, so we can at least use some off-the-shelf parts. But then, I mean, it has a TJ frame all the way to the seats, but basically every piece of bracketry or anything was cut off, so there's not really any TJ left other than frame rails.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of how this whole thing started and escalated into what it is now. But I could have never done this myself. Like, from my fabrication, my fabrication skill, I'm not even close to what it would have taken to build this thing. And then also, again, like, I started this build right after I moved to the United States, and I didn't have a single tool. I didn't even own a screwdriver at that point. Right. I was like, okay, by the time I find a spot where I can build it, buy the tools that I need, learn how to do all this stuff. No, it's not. That just didn't seem like the right idea. So it was, and I learned. I mean, in those 3 months, I learned a lot. Like, I don't want to say that I could duplicate this, not by any means, but I learned a lot.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. It was a really, really good time.
Yeah, good. Now, was that the same? The gentleman that built it, was it the same gentleman that just went over it with you?
Yes.
In one video?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was pretty slick. I mean, I watched that video, and he's good.
Yeah, him and one other guy. The other guy that wasn't in those videos that you saw. His name is Nick Oxley, and he is just a straight up welder. That's all he does. He didn't touch anything. All he did was welding and tube bending and whatnot. Like, he was a straight up fabricator, and he just didn't want to be on camera. So he's not really. You don't really see him in it. But it was Rocky, the guy that you see in the video, and then one other guy. The three of us basically built this thing.
Yeah, it was a great. I watched a video when you guys went over it, and it was definitely
was a hell of a time too.
Yeah.
That was not for camera. I think it was literally 20 days. We did a frame off restoration plus some new fabrication parts, and we changed up a bunch of stuff in 20 days.
Right, and that
was rough.
That was right before the Trail to SEMA, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was right after the Hellenbach in Kentucky last year. So I drove from Hellenbach straight to Oklahoma, tore this thing apart, and then rebuilt it all the way to Trail to SEMA, and then that was pretty much it. And then after Trail to SEMA, it wasn't just Trail to SEMA. It was like I went on a 13-week road trip, basically starting at Hellenbach, then doing 20 days in Oklahoma to rebuild it, then we did Trail to SEMA.
Right.
Then we did SEMA. Then we did Trail after SEMA.
Right.
In St. Hollow with a big group of guys. And then I went to San Diego for a week to hang out with a friend, and then we went to the Baja 1000 in Mexico. And after Baja 1000, on my way back, I dropped it back off at Green Country, and they went over it one more time over the winter time because I had a little encounter with a V-notch in San Hollow that swallowed the entire Jeep and messed up the entire driver's side. So the Jeep basically looked worse after the trip than it did before the rebuild. So,
wow.
So
it's funny because yesterday with the three of us were at a overlanding show, and then I had to run up to Penn State. My daughter was playing softball. On the way up, my son and I are in my Jeep, and we're talking, and I was telling him about how we were going to have this interview with you, and he says, Dad, I want to be a YouTube star because they can work whenever they want. And I chuckled and said, no, son, they work pretty much all the time. They're always
on. They work all the time.
Exactly. It's really not as and I mean, I would never consider myself that. The YouTube thing is just a little side hustle at this point.
Right.
Hopefully we're going to make it with this thing at some point, where this can be our job, or we can, focus even more on it. But for now, it's really just a side hustle with me. And like I said, my friend in Germany that does all the editing, he puts in a lot of hours every week to put these videos out. I film everything. I create the content. I have the ideas about the things we're doing.
Right.
But he is on the back end working his butt off at night. He has a full-time job. He works for Warner Brothers in Germany. So he's a full-time video editor.
Right.
And then at night, when he comes from work, he edits all videos. So big props to him. He's without him, I couldn't. It
just sounds like you have everything in place to, take this to. I don't know how you could take it to the next level.
Well,
I mean,
that's my next question. Have you talked to any networks or any large organizations about picking it up? And
I honestly, I haven't little bit. I'm not really sure if it's a good idea at this point. Like, I really like where we are, and I think YouTube is a great platform for what we're doing. And obviously, I would be interested in creating different content or additional content for television at some point, and just use this as a reference. Like, look what we can do. Now let's do something together. But the whole Hellenbach thing, I think, is like the best place to have that is on YouTube. But no, the long story short, I've not talked to anybody really about it. We were about to send out a proposal to a television channel in Germany, actually, to see if we can kind of build a bridge between that, because obviously for them it's a cool story too, that the guy from Cologne, Germany, does all this crazy stuff over here. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of something we're trying, just to kind of get our feet wet with this whole television thing, see how it goes. But that's the only approach that we have done so far. For now, we really want to build our YouTube channel and our social media presence and keep building events. I mean, 24 Hellenbach is just the first event of many different formats that we want to put out, just one at a time. And actually, Hellenbach wasn't even supposed to be what it is right now. So when we did the test run last year in June at Windrock with just a bunch of friends, that was supposed to be a pre-run for a different event. So originally 24 Hellenbach was supposed to be a straight up race competition for 24 hours. And I have this whole concept ready to rock, basically for basically Hellenbach as a competition format, as a straight up race where everybody is in individual teams, like just you and your passenger conquering trails for 24 hours and then having some sort of point system.
Right.
And the original Hellenbach challenge was just supposed to be a pre-run for this, just to see, hey, how is it to wheel for 24 hours? How is this all going to work? That's how this whole thing got started, and then it kind of like became live of its own, and now it's its own little thing. And like, we've had a plan to roll out the competition version of that this year, but also due to COVID, we unfortunately have to postpone that to next year. But so we have another event format coming out probably in fall next year, where we turn this whole thing into a competition. Of course, Hellenbach, the way you know it now, will stay. Right. So we will probably give it a little bit of a different name, but same kind of concept basically. But you will be on your own, just you and your co-driver in a big, really hardcore park, and then it's as many trails as you can do for 24 hours. Whoever collects the most points wins this whole deal. So that's what we're planning on doing for next year. And then we want to roll out a bunch of different style events, even just regular one-day trail rides and night rides, and all kinds of different events that we're gonna cover and create.
Right. We have, Marvin, we're just going to throw this out here. We have two huge off-road parks within 20 minutes of each other out here in southeastern PA. AOAA and Roush Creek are literally within 20 minutes of each other, and they're putting in a rock garden.
It's a Rubicon. It's a trail that's going to be similar to the Rubicon Trail that is fully man-made.
Right.
So they're putting in rocks. They're going to start out by doing a mine reclamation project, that they have all this land that was mined at one time, and now they're bringing in fresh dirt and clean soil to fill in these areas, and then they decide to put on top of it a huge, like 5,000 acre just rock garden, crawling trail, this, that, the other thing, to be able to swallow up buggies to nice little trails on the side to get there. And
we have V-notches, we have stuff, but it's all getting grown in, so we need somebody to come up and whack the weeds over.
Before Rugged Mountain Ranch came up on our desks here, Roush Creek was actually on the list to do a Hellenbach at Roush Creek. So Roush Creek is definitely on my radar.
Yeah.
So it'll probably happen at some point. But it's still on the list of parks that we want to visit for sure. Yeah. I don't know, and I might even, I'm considering doing one in the wintertime as well. So PA would be a cool place.
Yeah.
Obviously, the chances of snow are a lot higher. So and out down here in the southeast. So maybe that's something for the winter edition. We'll see.
Yeah, I've wheeled in the snow, and it's a totally different world.
Yeah, I've done it, and I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
We went one time, and there was 6 inches of snow on the ground, and just that little bit. I mean, we didn't have any problems on normal trails, but as soon as you start getting into those rocks and everything, water's one thing, but when you freeze that water,
exactly. No, I mean, I've wheeled here, I wheeled Windrock Park one time when it was snowing and completely covered in ice. Like everything that's usually mud was just ice.
Yeah,
and that was pretty crazy too. So
it really is. You just sort of aim and shoot, you know.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just worried about it. Like the vehicles that we invite, that caliber of vehicles, a lot of them don't have any roof. You know, I don't have a roof. I don't even have a door. Like I have not even a chance to put a roof on that thing at this point. And a lot of other rigs.
It's a little cold.
So how enjoyable is it really going to be if it's if you
depending on the time of year, it may only be 20 degrees. You know, especially up there.
Exactly, and then especially for the camera guys.
Right.
Dudes have to walk all this stuff in the snow, and it's an idea. I don't know if we're gonna pull through with it. We will, but we will most definitely come out with some sort of winter snow event at some point. You know, it might not be 24 hours. It might be a little bit something different, but we have a couple of ideas to incorporate that as well.
Yeah, when you do the 5-hour rose garden and back, I want to sign up for that.
The rose garden,
I want to take it easy, but I want to
have fun. No, absolutely.
So I guess I'm sorry, Billy. Go ahead. I cut you off.
No, I was just thinking about the roof things. Or you get the scenario that Holly goes and tries to put her roof on, and her doors don't close right.
Yeah, exactly. Most of those rigs all have like custom roll cages and whatnot, and you can't really do much, you know. And down here in the southeast, like even in the winter time, it never gets that cold that you really need a roof, you know.
Yeah, we switch from our soft tops to our hard tops up here in the Northeast. You know, it's November after Thanksgiving. We're all storing our soft tops, and except for a few of us, and throwing our hard tops on. And
I grew up wheeling in Tennessee, so winters are much milder than up here for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's why I committed when I built the Jeepster. I kind of committed to just have it open all year round, and I shaved the doors, like where usually the window would go is completely welded shut, like all the way around, and there's really absolutely no way to put a top on this thing, even if you tried.
No, I think, but that's what makes it cool. I keep, and it's the rest of us have I'm sure considered at some time or another taking the top off and throwing it in the garbage and from it. But which it's funny because I've been seeing more and more stuff come up on social media since 24 Hell came back. Hell and Back came out. I'm seeing people that I've been watching and following that weren't wheeling as hard as they are now. Like it's motivated people to wheel hard.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen some stuff too. I'm like, I don't think you guys would have done this without watching what we did. No, absolutely. I think it's cool. That's what we want to do. Like we want to inspire people to get into the sport even deeper than what they're used to. How capable you can build a Jeep and what kind of crazy trails you can do with it. So
Yeah, awesome. I think he did that. I think he took it to the next level. So I know we're over our time here a little bit, and I didn't want to tie you up. I know you're busy right now, but one last question for you. So you've said before that you're from Germany. What is, because I'm sure we're all wondering, what is wheeling? What's the wheeling lifestyle like in Germany?
It's very small, but it exists. So I actually worked at an off-road shop when I was 16 all the way to I was 18, 19, I guess.
Right.
In Germany, so I can't. But the regulation, the street regulations or the road regulations are it's just really, really hard to build a vehicle that is off-road capable and still street legal.
Right.
So that you have it a lot better over here in the States with that. So. Most wheeling that's done there is either like overlanding, expeditions. Sure. People go to ship their rigs all the way to Africa, to all across the world. Like the whole like their playground is more the entire world than it is in Germany. Like, and even with myself and my dad, when we started wheeling, like we had a few off-road parks in Germany that we would go to every once in a while. But for the most part, we would drive to France, we would drive to Belgium, we would drive to Italy to go wheel there. So it is a lot more spread out. But obviously, the countries are much smaller. So even though it sounds crazy to go to another country to four wheel, it's in reality it's a 2-hour drive.
Right. So
that's what it is for us here too, though. Yeah. Like for us to go wheeling, it's a 2-hour drive. It's an hour and a half at least. So
same here.
It's cool too that your dad wheels with you. I think that was another.
Yeah, that's how I he took me wheeling since I'm 4 years old, I guess. Yeah. So like I've been doing this literally my entire life. Wow. And then he moved to the United States when I was 12. 13, I think. He moved over here and left me the YJ that we had in Germany, and then he bought another YJ over here and started building it. But also, it started off on 34-inch tires, springs and whatnot, and then we just gradually it got crazier and crazier. It's actually still the same Jeep that he has today, just in his 6th or 7th edition, but that's kind of how this whole thing got started. And then, but Europe definitely, or Germany and Europe in general, definitely has more and more off-road events and competitions that are really, really cool. Like even Ultra 4, there's a King of Spain, King of Poland, King of Germany, King of whatever. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
Ultra 4 is all over Europe, and events like Croatia Trophy is definitely something to check out on YouTube. Croatia Trophy is a 14-day beatdown event, basically, where they drive through, all across Croatia, basically. But it's a 14-day rally, basically, with just insane mud and hill climbs and really, really gnarly. So that's definitely something to check out. Really entertaining to watch. Those vehicles like submerged in water all the way to their roof. All you see is the light bar sticking out. And these guys are completely insane. It's crazy. So definitely a bucket list event for myself as well. So there's a bunch of really, really cool stuff. It's just different. It's a lot more mud versus rocks, but not to a point where it's like a mud truck or anything. Those are just differently built trail rigs, and it's a lot of deep mud, a lot of water, a lot of really tight woods trails, So just different.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you guys? I don't want to keep you tied up, Marvin. Do you guys have any other questions?
No, that's.
Well, I do, and because I'm a musician. Do you have music that you listen to when you're out on the trail? Not necessarily, for the TV, because that or for YouTube, because it gets into licensing.
Exactly.
But what's your go-to playlist that you go to?
Playlist. Well, it's probably a little, like my music taste is probably a little bit too European for most people around. So I worked in the music industry, so that's where I'm originally from. Like I worked for a hip hop label in Germany for a big independent hip hop label. And then my first job in the United States was for a reggae label in New York City. So that's what basically brought me over. But yeah, my music taste kind of is somewhere between hip-hop and rap, but a lot of it is actually German or European rap music. And then, honestly, I grew up in Germany, so electronic music, I guess. Not like crazy techno, but just a little bit, I don't know, hard to explain. But, that's usually what I listen to, but
I was listening to Ram Zombie with a what is that, Skrillex mix on the way over.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So perfect.
Cool. So here's the final question: what are your top 3 parks or areas to go wheeling? Top 3.
I would say I think Rugged Mountain Ranch is definitely on first place at this point. Like that place is going away in a way like I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. So Rugged Mountain Ranch is on 1. I would say on 2 is Johnson Valley, King of the Hammers area, and then on 3 is a tiny little place in eastern Tennessee. We just call it the Sand Mines, and it's about 20 minutes north of Windrock Park. Okay. It's a state property, so you have to go online and register and get a permit to wheel there, and it's just one long trail that leads you up into a sand mine on top of a mountain in the woods of Tennessee, and it's just the most beautiful place ever. And it has white powder sand and limestone all over, so crazy traction. And you're in the middle of the woods, but surrounded by a scenery that reminds you more of Moab or something than anything else. So it's really, really just a really strange place and really, really good wheeling. So I would say those are my top 3: Rugged Mountain Ranch, Johnson Johnson Valley, and then the sand mines in Tennessee.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Closely followed by Windrock Park, of course. But
Well,
I would
yeah,
say
I mean-
I've wheeled Windrock Park so many times at this point that it just kind of, I don't want to say lost its flavor, but like I know every single trail at this park
Yeah.
at this point. And so it's like, yeah. But I would still put it in there. Let's put it on the fourth place.
Okay.
Awesome.
Close fourth.
Marvin,
Yeah.
we appreciate you coming on with us and spending some
Oh, man,
time with
thanks
us.
for having me.
Absolutely.
We're gonna, definitely show our listeners even further. We'll link to your YouTube and 24 Hell and Back.
I appreciate that.
And if I end up getting a sticker to you somehow,
I was just going to say, we'll get your address later, and
Yeah,
Jeeper
we'll send-
McJeep Face needs to be.
yeah, we'll send you a care pack, some
Sounds good.
shirt,
Let's do that.
hats, and
I'll
Yeah,
send you
it'd be
some
cool.
photos.
cool.
All right.
Sure.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you, guys.
Thanks,
Have a
Marvin.
good night. Talk to you guys soon. Bye
All
bye.
right.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
That was pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that was killer.
Yeah, sign me up. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah, that
keep-
was. I mean, for him, for as busy as his schedule is right now, to take some time
He's-
on a Sunday night is probably one of the reasons that I like Marvin Stammel. I mean, he's very humble. He's the guy's he's a big name in the off road industry.
Yeah, sure.
Flex
Absolutely.
Rocks and rollovers has become huge, and especially right now with this rollout of 24 Hell and Back,
Right.
and he's willing to take that time and spend some time with our listeners. What are we at? 4,000 or 5,000 downloads per month,
Yeah.
and he's
And
at
he's
100,000 a week.
Yeah,
So
That's crazy.
that was
Yeah, I
awesome
mean,
that he was able to
yeah,
do
he
that.
is. Super nice guy.
I think some of that, I told you I have a good friend that studied in Germany, learned to work on Mercedes.
Yep.
And we talk a lot about Germany. The mentality is a little bit different over
Yeah.
there. I think some of that has translated into his success as
Yeah.
well. I've been thinking about that. So I can't say enough good things about him. The little bit of conversation we've had, prior to this, just a phenomenal guy, super talented. And looking forward to
just the
seeing
trails
him
that
do
he
some stuff.
that doesn't even phase him either.
Oh,
Like I like to have fun out on the trails,
Yeah.
and I'll try just about anything. And I get to that point where I'm like, Terry, I feel like I'm gonna end up at that rock over there. And he's
I've-
like, pedal to the metal, let's go.
I've been doing this a lot longer than the two of you guys.
Yeah.
So I've been around people, that have been doing it a lot longer than I have, and I can honestly say I've been around some pretty serious talent. People, not
Yeah.
Dave Porsey necessarily, but people like Dave, people like Mike Rauch, people, people like that. And I can honestly say, I mean, he's next level. I've never wheeled with any. I certainly have never wheeled with that. I'm not going to be that guy to go on Facebook and say I could do that with my JK and 33s.
33s
No.
and open diffs.
It's no way. I mean, what
No.
they were doing, I purposely, while I'm watching it, I'm thinking, was that the line I would pick? I don't think that's the line I'd pick, and they're at points where these rigs are just like, I would have probably climbed out of the seat and been like, somebody else got to
See
do
you
it.
later.
Go
Go ahead.
for me, well,
I mean, I've wheeled hard. I've lifted wheels, but not like,
Let's take this.
Where can we be found?
We can be found just about anywhere on the web. Go to Google, search the Jeep Life Podcast. We're going to be popping up there in the first. We can be found on YouTube. That's where our main stuff is. We're throwing stuff on YouTube constantly. We're making videos
Every other day at least.
It's crazy the content that we're delivering there. If you have a podcast favorite place to go to, Apple Podcasts is mine, but if you go to Spotify or I think now YouTube Podcasts or something,
Yep, something.
something like that, you can get our episodes there. So make sure you subscribe and like. Tell your friends. We have an Instagram, and it's updated on a regular basis. It's awesome at Jeep Life Pod. The pod is real. The pod is great. And as always, guys, thanks for sharing your evening with us. Guys on Facebook and YouTube Live, thanks for sharing with us.
Absolutely.
And for Bill and Don, you guys have a good night. And here's a big Jeep wave to you. Awesome.
Are we done?
I
Can I
think
take these
so.
off yet?
I think we're done. Good night, everybody. Thanks for
Night.
coming.
Thank you, Facebook Live. Thank you, YouTube.
Oh, and I think we're gonna have hats to give away.
Coming up.
I got to figure out a good way to give away hats. So if anybody got a good idea on how to give away hats, contest, etc., send an email into info@jeeplifepodcast.
Well, automatically,
Yeah,
we got to do something with followers and subscribers and this. And
yeah.
that.
So come up with a good idea, and we'll do that. And if we pick your idea, I'll give you a hat.
Yeah,
How's that sound?
come up with a good idea.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night.